Hello, everybody, and welcome back to M&J Games. I am Michael, and today we're in for a special treat. First off, Jasmine and I just recently purchased our PS5, so I don't know if this is the first video that's going to be released, but this is the first video that is being shot on the new PS5. But more importantly, I have a special guest with me today, Iron Matty. How are you doing, Matty?
Hello, I'm doing very well, thank you very much. I'm just popping up everywhere now in everyone's videos. I feel like I'm sabotaging everyone's videos. It's really weird.
Or
Thank you for
you're
having me.
you're helping
I'm
all us
honoured.
out then. Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, I love. I know we've talked about this before about at some point trying to do a park tour together, but it was harder with PS5 and then PS4. But now that I have a PS5, we can do this and with Tommy as well. So this is awesome.
Does that mean I have to speak to you more often now then?
Absolutely. So
Oh, I didn't think of that downside, did I?
I
Should
know,
have thought
right? I
that
mean,
one through.
just the fact that anybody would have to speak to me more often is just I couldn't imagine. I would not want to be in your shoes. So
I'm just here to like kind of correct your like kind of when you say things wrong in American. Like kind of when you say strollers, I'll correct you and say pushchairs. So
yeah, hey, I
that's
gotta
why
say
I'm here.
though, there's a lot of things that y'all say better in the UK than we do. Like talking about car parks, that's so much better than parking lot. I mean, and talking about I mean, now I'll argue back on push chairs. I like strollers, but like mate, I love the word mate. That's better than saying friend. So um, yeah, I like it. And then the loo, isn't that bathroom? Isn't that what it's called?
Toilet.
Oh, you just still say toilet. Okay, never mind. I thought there was something else. But
There's lots of other words that I can use, but you would probably get this video removed from YouTube, so I'll keep it clean.
yeah. All right. So as y'all can see, I've just been kind of showing some aerial footage of this beautiful park, and this park is created on the PS5. This one is called Explorland, and it's Explorland PS5. It's made by Nowthenfella, and it says, "Enjoy your visit to this European park. Brave the ancient god Tanzu. I totally can't pronounce that name. In the wild China area, take on the Iron Giant in a Victorian steampunk fantasy." And embrace for adventure at the Lost Temple and experience the soaring Golden Claw. Many thanks to all the content creators on the workshop, especially the steampunk theming. So it sounds like you probably then got a little bit of some of the stuff for the steampunk area off the workshop. So hopefully he gave credit to there. But man, I mean, what are your first thoughts of this park before we even get started?
Well, this is completely new to me. I had not seen this on the workshop until you actually mentioned to me earlier on this evening. So everything in this park is completely brand new. I've not even looked at it at all, but certainly from an overview, it's stunning and it's big.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've got quite a lot to cover here, so keeping this video under an hour is going to be fun, especially with two of us. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm excited to get into this.
So let's get started. Yeah, I haven't ridden any of the rides. I have looked around a little bit, but I mean, they all look fantastic. So first off, you come to this entrance, and it kind of reminds me of what Jasmine did with her one of her coasters in that Sweetheart Lane. It's just kind of this big grand building, right? And so really, really well done. And I kind of like looking at this street view level because you really kind of, or guest view, because you kind of really see what's how it's intended, right? Which is what are the guests going to see?
Yeah, I
So,
love the flooring, how he's kind of like broken up the flooring with kind of like different tiles as well.
hmm
I think that looks really good.
yeah,
I think it gives it
oh,
that kind of really unique look.
yeah, I
Like, there's
didn't
so
even
many
notice
different
that.
floor pieces there. I mean, like, kind of what? There's one, two, three, four different floor pieces that he's kind of like mixed together. I
Yeah,
think it
and
kind of like
then
looks really well. It looks like a checkers board or something.
yeah, I didn't even notice that. Yeah, it looks really cool. I wonder if there's a reason for the design with that, or if it's just kind of random to say, hey, this looks good because it does look good.
It certainly breaks it up. It doesn't make it, because if he'd used all the same tile, I think it would have looked kind of like quite open and not bland, but a bit samey. But because he's used the different tiles, it's broken it up and give it like a really unique look, and I love that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and I mean the fact too that you've got this whole thing kind of surrounded by this wall, it really just kind of feels like almost this like peaceful kind of little garden area, if you know what I'm saying. Like it's looks really cool. And so you got this initial kind of clock tower, and then you come into the main street is what this looks like. I mean, look how beautiful these buildings are. This is crazy.
And he's even got smoke coming from the chimneys as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it really just genuinely looks kind of like almost like lived in, to be honest. It looks like
Okay.
kind of almost like a German town or something like that.
Yeah, that was
I
my
don't know if you
thought.
kind of get that sense, like kind of maybe
Yeah,
like kind of the Eastern European kind of vibe, and it looks fantastic. It's beautiful, some really great architecture.
for sure. And then especially kind of seeing that that to me it kind of reminds me of like a European church right there, right? Just some massive. You're in like these small European towns, and then there's this massive church. It's like, where did that come from? Um, but yeah, really, really well done. I think the only thing is we had some, guests were kind of walking through this, and so it looks like this was just placed right over the path. So they definitely need to put down some barriers or redo some other different kind of planter there that kind of because that kind of looks weird from that side, if you know what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah, I get what you mean.
yeah.
I personally missed that. I didn't actually notice that.
Well,
So
I
yeah,
didn't I
that's
didn't
a
notice it
good
either
shout.
from this side. Well, it's like I didn't notice it till we look back because I think with how it is like this, it looks really nice. But then when you kind of look back here, you see, well, it's trying to cover up the path. So,
There is quite a good technique of doing that as well if you just use the red ropes, isn't it? If you use the
hmm
red ropes, put the red ropes all the way around it, and then just drop them below the ground level, and it will stop the guests from walking through it. So Michael has got control of this at the moment, so you know exactly what I mean, don't you?
Yep. So if somebody messes up with the video, it's all me. All right. So if you let me get out of this. That camera mode is really tough. Yeah. So if you just turn it and let me get angle snap off, and so if you just kind of align it, and then you kind of just bury it, and then you can do the same thing because see now they're not walking through it like they were. So then you just kind of move that along the edge, and now they're not passing through, and they kind of just go
And it's
around.
sometimes even easier if you can like do that above ground as well. So if you can like
Mm-hmm.
do the barrier all the way around, and then you can select the entire piece as one, group it all together, and then just drop the entire thing down as one actual set piece. So it would all be grouped together as well, and
Yeah, and it
that can
doesn't have
like
to be.
make life a little bit easier as well.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect, right? Because this can be below ground. So yeah, like you said, this is probably the best way to do it to ensure that you're covering everything. Just something along the lines of that, and then you would highlight them all and just lower them like that. But that's the only thing I'd say right there, and for kind of these pieces as well. But other than that, I mean, this is just gorgeous
I mean, they are blueprints, in-game blueprints, but
for
that still
sure.
doesn't take away from it. It doesn't detract of how good it is. It's beautifully done, and they've been incorporated into the main street so well.
Mm-hmm.
So just because they're blueprints, that's not to say it's a bad thing because you've used them really well. I mean, what's the point in spending hours doing something if you've got something that beautiful in the game already?
Yeah, for sure. Well, and that's one thing I've said too is I know some people are like they kind of look down on blueprints a little bit, and to me, I'm like, you still got to make it look nice within your park. So as long as you're designing it nicely in that sense, I think it's fine. Um, but yeah, so let's go. We normally go left first, seems like, so let's go right this time. Yeah, I agree with you.
Oh,
These
we're proper
buildings,
mixing it up now.
yeah, for sure. It does kind of remind me of like a German setting a little bit, or at least what I would picture some German buildings to be like. So, looks like this would be like a hotel, maybe. Um, yep, that's a hotel, and a lot of foliage. They could do a little terrain paint, though, right? Right, Maddie? Since that's your
You know me and my
area of
terrain
expertise.
paint. I do love my
Yeah,
terrain paint. Obviously, it depends on what terrain paint he's brought with him as well
let's check
into
that
the map because it's. I hate the fact that you can't use everything.
for
Um,
sure.
oh, so he's got leaves. He's got leaves and dry grass. So yeah, both leaves and dry grass. So literally just paint around that with some leaves. Just
Yeah,
always adds to it. Just adds to that realism. It takes like kind of a couple of minutes, and just like kind of literally just go around there,
so
and
you just
like it
add a
just
little bit of
adds that
that,
little
yeah.
bit more to it.
Or you could even do a little bit of this one too, which has maybe a little bit too much because it kind of killed the grass. But yeah, you get the idea. But by the way, Maddie has had some tremendous tutorials that he's put out recently about terrain painting and doing water features and stuff. And so, got to make sure to go check that out. But this is a really well done kind of chair swing, and this is something like this is where Jasmine's expertise is really at, and I think she'd really like how this is done. Because look at that.
It's
That's
beautifully themed. Really
absolutely
nicely themed. I
beautiful.
like the queue path as well. I like the
Hmm.
queue path, how it kind of like goes in and out of the foliage as well. I think Jasmine would be tipping her hat off at this.
Oh, absolutely, for sure. And so it's like if you're down here at the queue level, I mean, you don't really see it. You can see the chair swing, but other than that, you're just constantly seeing all this. I mean, that's amazing. So now it looks like we've got the China themed area. So, I mean, obviously the China themed area. So this is I haven't really built with these pieces much. Have you, Maddie?
No, not particularly. No. Funnily enough, I actually did a spotlight earlier on today for Victory Legend Park,
Oh
by
yeah.
Joe Ajay, and he's got the big Chinese themed area as well. So, like, kind of, this is my second China area of the day that I'm looking at, and same as Joe Ajay, is just beautifully done. There's some great pieces. It makes me want to go and do one,
Mm-hmm.
to be honest. But my only problem is I don't think I could do them as good as some of these people have done. That's my only issue,
Yeah.
because they're so good.
I mean, look at that kind of this view when you walk into this area is just really cool. How you have that massive lift hill. Um, yeah, I agree with you. I'm like, I just feel like if I were to do one of these themed areas, I would totally mess it up. You know, like I would
Yeah,
use the
yeah, that's
pieces
my
wrong,
problem.
or people would like look at that and be like, that looks nothing like what would resemble a
I mean, can
Chinese
you imagine
area.
sitting at that bench there eating your dinner? It's like, so you brought your packed lunch with you, and then you're going to go sit on this bench and just have some dinner, and just
Yeah,
looking around, as
yeah,
like kind of as you sat there, it's just some amazing views, some really nice sight lines.
for sure. So let's look at the elevated view of this area. So it looks like we got a little junior coaster that we'll ride, and then we've got this large coaster. And I mean, that thing's always so cool to me. It's like if we go up there and we look at what they're kind of seeing, I mean, they get this view right here. That's just amazing.
That's an amazing view.
Yeah. All right. So what do we want to ride first?
Um, I'll leave that entirely up to you. You're in control.
Let's do junior
Let's go on the
coaster.
kiddie coaster.
Yeah,
Yeah,
might
let's
as
go
well.
kiddie.
And it's in the station. So, all right. So it's called. Would that be Belong or Bailong?
Boylong, Boylong,
Boilong?
Boylong. I don't know.
Boing? Yeah.
I, I like the white dragon.
Oh
He's got the
yeah, I didn't even
dragon
notice
painted
that.
white.
Yeah, that's really cool. All right, so these you got to ride front bumper.
Oh,
So
100%.
I really enjoyed that. What about you?
I mean, yeah, for a kiddie coaster, it did exactly what it needed to, didn't it? It's
Mm-hmm.
no massive big drops, just perfect for a kiddie ride, to be honest.
Absolutely.
Yeah, nailed it.
I
Nothing wrong with it. I like the elevation changes throughout the ride and the foliage and the rock use. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I think I like how it's got a couple little airtime hills too. Um, I wonder how this really small one would actually be in real life, just because the coaster is so long. It feels like it kind of like jerks you over it, and so I wonder if how that would be. You know, if this were a real life coaster, just because those coasters are pretty
It
long.
seems
It kind
pretty
of,
realistic, truth be told.
okay.
Maybe
That
maybe that one little bump there, yeah, that
yeah, that
last
one's
bump.
really good. I think this one's probably a little bit too small to where it just kind of jerks them a little bit too much over it. But now let's look at the big coaster. So this is, you know, the largest one in the park. Um, we'll see.
This
Is
is
it
right
a?
up your alley, this, isn't it?
I know. Yeah, it's called. Let's pause that real quick so we can catch that one going up the lift hill. So it's a Timac coaster. Um, this is weird. They call us a wing coaster, but you know, it just looks so different than the typical wing coasters, right? Um, so let's do front bumper view as well, or I guess yeah, we'll do that. Testing. So I believe this is right at yeah, that's the Giga Coaster. So it's over 300 feet. So the vertical G's are really high. So maybe we
Unfortunately,
can
that would most likely kill you.
Yeah, so maybe we can point
That's
out
higher
where
than a
that would
Formula
be.
One car.
Yeah, because we try to keep it below 6, even though in real life it's like you got to keep it
Generally,
really at
yeah.
4, 4.5
But
normally.
generally, I always say they don't matter, to be honest, because if it looks good, then who
Oh
cares?
yeah,
To
who
be
cares?
honest, so.
Yeah, for sure.
And guests are still going on it, so they obviously don't mind.
Yeah, for sure. All right, what are your thoughts?
I personally really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Could have maybe done with a little tiny bit of smoothing just in a couple of little places, but not much. I'm not 100% sure why the vertical load was so high, if honest, because there was nothing that massively jumped out at me, and I thought, ooh, that was a bit too bad.
Yeah, there were two
So I
parts
think it's
that
that
stood out to
first lift
me.
drop.
Yeah, so that first drop, there's not enough time for the track to be kind of smoothed out. So that's definitely high. And then that's weird because I was thinking this area right here where you went up like real quick probably would have been high, but that doesn't seem to register as that high. Um, it is weird though how it's not like it had G forces of 8 at any point. It's like the highest is 5.9. So I just wonder how they mathematically end up getting up to 8 based on how they've coded the game. But yeah, I agree with you. I think there are a couple areas just using some smoothing, but this is an awesome coaster. Like
Hmm.
I think this inversion right here, I think that it could have been smooth, like lengthened out just a little bit, because it kind of whipped you right in there. Whereas if you just kind of lengthen it out a little bit, it's not as um, quick of a turn, if that makes sense. But I mean, this is really, really well done. I think. Look how long that is. Pretty cool.
Yeah, there's certainly some nice terrain work around it as well, and
Yeah.
foliage work. So yeah, yeah, good job. I liked it.
Yeah.
Agree with you. Like kind of say like maybe just a little bit of smoothing in places and some of the inversions. But yeah, on the whole, I really liked it. So
hmm And I like too how the ending is. I need to start doing this. How a lot of these new Giga coasters and hyper coasters have this ending. This kind of instead of it just being the brake run on a flat, it's kind of going downhill a little bit. And I know there's a reasoning for it. I forget what it is. Nerd Chacho talked about in one of his videos, but that's a new thing they're going for. So now let's move on to the next area. And let me know, Maddie, too, if I miss anything. And
I will certainly let you know.
so let's go to the right this time. Uh-oh, somebody's got to pick up their trash. Why is it the security guards
Rubbish.
always strut around like they're so big and bad and pretty funny.
I love the sight lines in this park. It all looks really
Mm-hmm.
nice from like kind of the ground level. Like kind of everywhere you look, like kind of there's something to see, which is always a big selling point in my eyes.
Oh, for sure. And especially like this, I love this kind of skin they put on this merry-go-round because it looks like they just used like the panel wall maybe, or is that how it came? Let me see. It's not letting me.
No, I think they've just changed the colour of it.
Oh, they just changed the
I
color
think
of it.
he's
Okay.
changed the colour to white. But I like how he's elevated it, so it's not just flat to the ground. And he
Yeah.
did the same with the chair ride as well. It's not all flat to the ground, which I
Mm-hmm.
really like.
Yeah, which I need to do a better job of that because I think sometimes it's just super easy to place it flat on the ground. But once again, Jasmine would be proud of this. Look at that foliage work. And then you've got all those trees kind of behind it to where it's completely blocked off. And so like that massive hyper or not hyper, that massive hybrid coaster. I mean, we can't even see it yet, based on where we've been so far. Like that's how cool they've kind of, and how the sight lines are kind of blocked, right? So
Yeah, yeah,
really
great
cool.
use of the trees and the foliage.
And then looking back up Main Street, I mean that's an awesome kind of. I don't know if that's supposed to be like a massive clock tower or church or whatever it is, but that looks cool.
I think it's supposed to be a church. I would say it's supposed to be a church.
Yeah.
That's certainly what I would see it as. But I feel really immersed in this park.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like really kind of like feel proper engrossed in it, which is good. There's nothing that's really taking me away from the realism of it and the immersion, which
For
is what you
sure.
always want to like
Ah,
kind of see.
you got the butterflies. Those are butterflies, right? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
All these little special effects. Yeah, I mean, this is, like you
So you
said,
can see these now. You've got a PS5.
yep, yep, for sure, for sure. Yeah, it's really immersive, like you said. And so now this is the steampunk area, which I told Jasmine when we uploaded this park, and it looks like you've got kind of like a, um, almost like industrial Big Ben style building, and kind of, it's really kind of cool how they've gone about creating this area, and even their like theming around like the flat rides. Like, look at that.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's absolutely incredible. I love that. And that train that was to the side, that is the blueprint train, but he's put loads of kind of like cogs on it as well and wheels on
Okay.
it. So he's added loads and loads of stuff onto it as well.
Yeah, I see that. So the normal train, so it's got 25 objects. So he's put 24 objects on there. Since it's a blueprint, you said, right? So it only came as one individual object,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
so
The train is literally just one piece, and then he's added everything else on separately, and just really, really well done.
that's really cool. I mean, good job pointing that out. I didn't recognize that. So I mean, this is, and one another thing too is I feel like in every area we're in, he's kind of created these like boundary walls that just kind of block you off from the rest of the park to make you really feel
Hmm.
immersed in kind of that section in that area. So, and you got that hot air balloon. I mean, this is
I
really
don't know about you,
amazing.
Michael, but I haven't seen anyone do steampunk on console yet.
No, I
Now I know
haven't.
that I believe that Nerd Chat Show did a big steampunk one, didn't he? And I know there's some PC creators that have done steampunk, but I've not seen any console players do it yet. And this is
Yeah,
just incredible. It's so unique for console. It's
yeah, for
amazing.
sure.
I love this.
Look,
Absolutely love it.
look at the design of this, and I'll be honest, I don't really know too much about like where steampunk like comes from or whatever, but like where that kind of style. Because, I heard people say it on like the Planet Coaster like PC version stuff. But I mean, just look how like the theming here, and you've got like the rubble, and then all those spinning wheels in the background. Like this is amazing. Wow.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, and I don't know if I'd ever ride that ride. That ride just looks like too much. And then once again, you've got this other. I mean, this is, so it's like he took out the trees and everything and just put this rubble, but it looks so cool, just kind of around these coasters. I mean,
It's certainly one of
fantastic.
the
Or
most unique things I've seen done in a spotlight yet. That certainly that I've been part of. I've never
yeah,
seen anyone do anything quite like this before, and it's just stunning.
oh, it's,
Absolutely, I love it so much. I know I've already said that a couple of seconds ago. Find new words, mate. It's amazing.
I didn't even. This shows you how much I haven't looked at every single flat ride because I didn't even know that one has a brain in the middle there. So I was like, what in the world? But yep, really cool. So then, obviously, we come back over here, and we've got the coaster, which is IG. And, I mean, looks like he's continued the theming on the coaster area. Look at the station. It's kind of like caged off. Wow, that's really cool.
Very industrial, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's super cool. All right, let me pause that. So, let's see. Called Iron Giant. Okay, I see why I nicknamed it IG. So let's look at the stats real quick. All those stats look good or in green. Man, I always hit that button sometimes, and yeah. So G's look a lot better on this one. Biggest drop, 55 meters. So that would be considered the tallest hyper or hybrid coaster in the world. Um, but yeah, so looks good. Have you gotten to ride one of these before, Maddie, in real life?
I'll be honest, I'm not sure. I don't think so. No,
These
no, I
are
don't think I have. I'm a little bit. I haven't been on many coasters, I'm afraid. I do all these
okay.
park spotlights, and I haven't exactly been on a lot. So,
I gotta
yeah,
say these
my
are
bad.
these are a blast to be on. So they're some of my favorite coasters. That was awesome. That was
Agreed.
a that was a great coaster. Um, I just love how it's like it's out and back, but it kind of curls around itself multiple times, and then down here you've got the barrel roll, which kind of leads then into that little helix up for the end. I mean, kind of like you say, I don't know what else to say other than fantastic.
I mean, I've both me and you now have done our fair share of spotlights now over the past few months, and I've ridden a fair few of these in various different parks, and this is my favourite one that I've been
Mm-hmm.
on. The theming of it, it was absolutely brilliant. Some of them inversions and barrel rolls were absolute perfection. They were
Mm-hmm.
so good. It kept a really good speed all the way around. At no point did I think this was a bit slow or boring. Literally from the very first drop right till the very second it pulled into the station, I just thought, wow, this is ace. And yeah, the whole idea behind the entire ride and the theming of all the steampunk Iron Giant, perfect. That's all I
Yeah,
can
for
say. It's
sure.
perfect.
Um, yeah, I think that there were a couple areas early on that needed a little bit more smoothing because I felt like he tried to do custom. Like I think this part here on this edge could have been smoothed a little bit more. But I mean, like you said, I mean, just the theming around it, the inversions are awesome. And it wasn't just that like the speed was good. It was that like it didn't get too slow, but it wasn't too fast either, if that makes sense. Like you didn't go through any
Yeah.
of the inversions at any point thinking, oh wow, that's maybe too quick. And one thing I want to see
Are they
is
custom supports?
that's what I'm wondering. Well, it says the coaster's untested, but to me, I didn't know. See, that's so strange because oh, you know what he did? All right, we're going to test something real quick. So this is definitely custom supports here. I'm going to delete this, and you're going to see I think there's another coaster underneath. Yeah, so he put another coaster underneath so that he could have the metal supports from that coaster.
Oh,
And I mean, I was trying to figure out
that
too
is
because
ingenious.
because yesterday I was looking at this like I didn't ride the rides, but I was kind of looking around at it showing Jasmine, and I'm like, is this a custom supported? And I was like, no, I thought the hybrid coasters had wooden supports. I'm like, there's no way that's how it came. But I mean, isn't that so cool? He just used just to get that specific metal support to kind of go right in line with the area, right?
That is
Like,
absolutely ingenious. That is
yeah,
such. I would never ever think of doing that.
yeah, brilliant. I mean, there's a lot of things that I look at this park and I'm like, I would never think to do that. So this is just amazing looking at all this stuff. Um, so let's go ahead and we'll kind of do an overhead view of here because we don't want to keep this too long, even though it's already been half an hour.
We need to have
um,
a look at Big Ben as well.
oh yeah, 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 right there, Big Ben. So it looks like a different take on it, right? Um, what
Yeah,
are
a
your
bit more
thoughts on?
like the industrial area. And industrial era take, like kind of a steampunk take on it. I don't know if it is actually supposed to be Big Ben, or maybe kind of like just like kind of a bit of a maybe a bit more of an interpretation of Big Ben. But
Right.
it's brilliant, brilliant build.
Yeah, this is like looking at this. It makes me just think like Evie and whatever her brother's name is on Assassin's Creed Syndicate are just going to be walking around. Because that's what it feels like, kind of that industrial London feel to me. Could be totally wrong about that, but that's kind of the vibe and feel I get. So
I
really,
really hope that the creator of this manages to actually get to see this video. I hope like kind of one of us can get in touch with him and say that this is kind of like going up on your channel, because I'd love for him to hear our thoughts, because I
oh,
want him to get
absolutely.
recognised for this as well,
Oh, for
because
sure.
this is just mind blowing.
Yeah, and on kind of that same topic, Maddie was saying, for anybody who's creating parks on PlayStation and you want potentially people to see your parks, like YouTubers, or just if you want people to contact you, you need to make sure your privacy settings are changed to where anybody can email you or send you a message. Because, for example, I haven't checked with this creator, but you can click on their name on the workshop, and then you can go to their profile and you can message them. And if their settings are set up to where they can't receive messages from strangers or random people, then you can't message them. But if it is set up in where it does allow messages, you can message somebody and just be like, "Hey, love your park. Would love to spotlight it," stuff like that. So it's all about kind of how your settings are. But look at that view right there.
It's amazing. Yeah, just following on from what you just said, I found a park that I really want to do a spotlight on, and they've got their settings locked, so I can't message them. So I've just put it on the Facebook group, and hopefully somebody knows who it is.
Oh,
If it
that's a
is
good
that I
idea.
can't get in touch with them, I'm just gonna just do a spotlight anyway, and hope that they get to see it, because it's an amazing park. It's like an all Aztec, like kind of lost jungle city kind of park, and it's amazing. So
Oh,
yeah,
is it
that'll be a
a?
spotlight I've got going up next week. They're by XX Dr. Jones, XX or something. Went up a couple of days ago in the
Okay.
workshop. It's amazing.
Is it like Lost Temple or something like that? Is that what it's called?
Something
Or
like that. Yeah, I think it
okay.
is Lost Temple.
Yeah, it looks good. Definitely be checking that one out. But so it's funny you talked about Aztec type park right as we're walking into this.
It's
Um,
almost like I knew on it.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of a cool view right there, kind of just seeing the spinning coaster go up the lift hill. Um, so let's go around to the right, which it looks like I guess this is the line for the coaster right away. And so let's go up to Q, which I do love using the flip cam camera. The only thing that I hate about it, and Maddie, I want to get your thoughts on this too, is um, when all of a sudden you exit out of it, it takes you back to where you started flip cam at. And I'm like, why in the world would these developers think that's a good idea?
I
Like,
never use Plipcam. I never ever use Plipcam. Ever.
yeah. Well, it's just funny. That's one of
I
those
just
things.
I just use this view, like what you're doing now. I just use this view and like try and get it a bit lower down, to be honest.
Yeah, Curse of the Lost Temple. Well, that's just like one of those things that I'm like, this went through developers, everybody, and they still thought that was a good idea for the flip cam to end that way. Um,
You should probably explain what Plipcam is as well to people, because a lot of people might not even know what you're referring to, actually,
okay,
because it's quite a hidden feature in the game. A lot of people don't even know what Plipcam is.
yeah, so we'll do that at the end. I'll kind of go over flip cam view, but I mean that just comes from um, the mascot of Planet Coaster, right? Planet
Yeah.
Flip Cam. And I think this is a coaster we should probably ride twice, just once spinning and then once just in track view to kind of get a good take on what the coaster is. And this looks like a lot of fun. Have you made one of these coasters before, Maddie?
I have indeed. I've made a couple of them, I think.
So
I made one for my unrealistic park and made it not spin,
that's right.
just for
Okay.
once.
So I haven't really made one of them yet. So how tough is it to control the spinning? Like, is there a way to do that, or?
There's certain parts of track that you can put down where you can like actually lock it in place so it can't spin for a certain amount, and then you put another piece on where it can like can then spin again.
Okay. Is it? It just seems like it's tough to control. Like there was one part there where it just seems like it was spinning like crazy. So it just seems like it's tough to control how it spins. So now we'll look at it in track view. All right. So what are your takeaways? What are your thoughts of this coaster?
It's a little bit janky, but it's supposed to be. They are supposed to be janky, so it's
Yeah.
realistic in that point. I have got the daftest little nitpick ever for
Okay.
this.
Let's hear it.
I don't like the colour of the car.
Yeah, I agree with you
The
on that.
track is yellow. The track is kind of like yellow and green, and then you've got this blue car, and it kind of like just clashes with the whole thing. It's like it's all this kind of like Aztec lost treasure kind of like adventure thing, and it's amazing. It's an amazing coaster and an experience, and he's nailed the theme. But then he's got the blue car that doesn't quite make sense. I think the car would be better to kind of like be either gold or green or like kind of a like dark rustic orange kind of thing. But that's a silly little nitpick, if honest. That's the only thing I can pick up on.
Yeah.
The rest of it was really good. I really liked it.
Well, I mean, just how about being here on these kind of walkways, and it's like everywhere you look, there's a piece of track going underneath underneath the walkway. Like that's super cool. There were a couple areas where it definitely needed smoothing. So I think that's the biggest thing. My biggest takeaway with a lot of these coasters is just working on the smoothing a little bit. But I mean, just look at the layout. Like the
I don't think
design
it's
of this.
supposed to be smooth, though. Actually, I
Oh,
think I
okay.
actually disagree with you on that one. It's supposed to be janky. It's supposed to be like that. So I actually think because it's not quite as smooth, it's actually a little bit more realistic. I think it's
Okay.
supposed to kind of throw you around a little bit more because that's kind of like what makes it spin in the first place. So I might be wrong in that. To be honest, I'm sure people will
Yeah.
say, "Matty, what are you on about?" But
But I mean, just look how beautiful the design of this area is. I mean, you're constantly in these trenches. Like, I mean, even the first drop, like the height's not tall, but the overall drop is probably almost twice as high as the actual as it is off the ground, if that makes sense.
that
So,
can't have been easy, actually.
mm-mm. And to get the pass to go around it where it looks nice, I mean, that's tricky. So, and let's as we can kind of see more of the aerial view here. So it looks like we got a wing coaster. We'll go on in a second. Man, this area looks awesome. Oh, you got the waterfalls over there. So now,
Water,
yes, your favorite, right? So are you a little bummed out?
water,
There's
yeah.
not much water in this part.
There's a couple. I'm set. There's water just to your right there. I'm set. There's just about enough to keep me happy.
Okay. So it looks like this is going to be for the other coaster, and I love how the job that this creator has done theming each individual area. So it's like, I mean, all of these cues are so well themed to that area, right? I mean, look how
Hmm.
tropical and kind of like jungly this looks. That's amazing.
Yeah, and not a cattle pen queue as well, which is
Yeah,
nice to see.
for sure. It looks like nobody's willing to ride this ride for some reason. So let's put it on test mode so we can actually ride it. We'll do this one on yeah, we'll do let's do front bumper, let's do second train. I feel like these are really tough to get smooth in terms of riding it on the wing, just because of how awkward it is that the cars actually sit on the wing, you know?
I think Tommy CM says that these are one of the most difficult rides in the game to build and get
Hmm.
right.
Yeah. And I like how it's a launch, too. So it's the only launch coaster in the park, which is good. Look at all that terrain paint, Matty.
I'm so happy.
Yeah, that was a good coaster. Out of the four we rode, which one? I guess five, including the kiddie coaster. But out of the four main coasters, which one's your favorite?
The wooden, by
Yeah,
far.
same.
Iron
Um,
Giant, by far.
yeah,
And that's not to detract from any of the others either, actually. They're all good. It's just that Iron Giant was so good.
yeah, for sure. Well, one thing I was thinking about too is like when I made my latest park, Canyon Valley, I had a lot of coasters, and one thing that Coaster Creations said is I needed to diversify the different types of coasters more, and in terms of like companies and stuff like that, right? So if you think about what this park has, there's four main coasters, right? But you've got a wing coaster, which is a B&M coaster. You've got one of these spinning coasters, which falls into the category of unique. It's got like a special category, right? And that's made by Mack Rides. You then have your wooden slash hybrid coaster by RMC, and then I don't know what company would make this type. It probably would be like B&M or something. But you've got your height, your coaster with a lot of height. You've got your coaster with a lot of inversions, which is this one. You've got your wooden coaster. So it's just very diversified in terms of the types of coasters. And so I think that's a fantastic job of kind of designing this park by the creator, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you lost me halfway through that, but I'm nodding. So yes, Michael, I know
Yeah.
exactly what you're saying. You have missed a ride, by the way.
Yeah, I know. We
There's
got the
a
water
water.
one. Yep.
Right, okay, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I just know we were done with the coasters. But yeah, so kind of looking at this, we're gonna ride this water ride in a second. But
The water. Look at the
yeah,
water around it.
I mean, it looks really well done in terms of really making it feel like you're part of a jungle. So let's go ahead and ride this. Um, how about those little station right there? That's unique.
Yeah, different. It's simple but unique. Simple but effective.
Yeah,
Less is more, as I always like to say.
for sure. And I
The
think it
risky
works.
river rapids.
It really works for this type of coaster too, or not coaster. This type of ride. Hold on. I don't know which one I need to be on. So I'll get this figured out. Hold on. So let's see. Whichever one's about to leave the station. Yeah, sometimes with these, I'm like, all right, which one were we on?
It's really tricky, isn't it, trying to get the right one at times? I would say that one. Oh,
Yeah, I
no,
think
that's
it's
the
you're
back
right.
one. Yeah,
I think it's
yeah.
this one. You're
I
right.
think that. Yeah, there because the station's just to the left as well. So
Oh no, actually, that's not that one because I think that's the end one. This is
it's a
quite.
nightmare trying to get these.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's this one. This one's the one that's leaving. All right. So I like doing front bumper on these just because you really get to kind of see the terrain, right, and see what they did with designing it. Because when it's constantly spinning, I feel like you don't. I feel like the experience isn't as good. But look at this.
Yeah, you get some good views as well, like this as well.
Hmm.
Some nice views of the coasters off while you're going
Hmm.
around as well.
Well, I like the terrain paint they decided to use for all of the grassy area on this section. So I think it kind of fits with that kind of like style that they went for.
Yeah,
I don't know if y'all could hear that, but my wife just said she's eating dinner. So um, if you heard somebody yelling they're eating dinner or everything, that was Jasmine.
what are you having?
Oh, I have no idea. Probably leftovers. So some leftover chicken.
Be careful with leftover chicken. Don't get salmonella.
Yeah. Although I do have some ground elk that I've set out to make some elk burgers at some point. So
Elk,
yes, it's fantastic.
as in the big deer type things.
Yeah, so it's like it. I
You
mean,
eat elk in America.
yeah, it's like
That's weird.
I'm telling you, man. If you were, it's so lean and it's like very healthy compared to beef. But like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love my beef burgers. Like, but I feel like if I were to make it and you had one, you probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
Mm.
It tastes a lot like beef.
If you
It's
ever
really
come over
good.
to the UK, you'll have to bring me some elk.
Okay. Um, yeah, there's
We're
actually
getting
I went
we're
to
getting sidetracked here, aren't we?
yeah, actually the first type of burger I had that wasn't actually like a beef burger was when I was in Scotland with my dad, and we both got a wild boar burger, and that was phenomenal. Um, but enough about ground meat. Let's talk about this River Rapids. What'd you think?
Um, I mean, it wasn't anything white knuckle or anything like
Right,
that. I liked the terrain around it. I liked the views. There was no kind of like really big drops. It wasn't your stereotypical river rapids where you're going to be getting soaking wet. It was more an experience and like kind of
right.
views as you went around rather than actually like kind of right, this is your water ride where you're going to get soaking wet. But for what it actually was, I liked it. I thought it was good, and maybe just a bit different from what I would expect from a normal river rapids.
Yeah, I agree. I like having these walkways kind of going across. I think that's a good little touch because it makes you feel like you're really in kind of a jungle area and an area that's kind of treacherous. So looks good. Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I didn't even think of that about how it doesn't really even have much of a drop. And so guests aren't really going to get wet like they normally would with your traditional river rapids as much. The waterfall there is a pretty cool touch.
Yeah, you
So,
know I'm going to agree. It's water, so yeah, just thumbs up from me straight away. It's water. Anything with water, I love. So it's my favourite part of the game.
yeah. So, I don't even know what my answer would be on this one, but there were technically four areas in this park. You got your Aztec kind of area. You've got the main. I forget what the name is for those building style in the game, but you've kind of got your Main Street area, Chinese area, and then the steampunk. Which one of those was your favorite?
Steampunk. Didn't even have to think about it.
Yeah, I have to agree for sure. I think the way this was done is just phenomenal. I mean, having that all that kind of rubble just looks so cool. Like so much time put in on designing these areas. Really, really well done. So, are there any other final thoughts you have, or anything
We haven't
else
had a
on
look
your
at the
mind?
park at night, have we? Shall we
No,
just
we.
have a quick look at night?
Yeah,
See,
let's.
I'm remembering to look at night, and it's always me that forgets.
Yeah, for sure. So it looks like everything's lit up normal like it would be. But I'm glad that we didn't miss anything in terms of like sometimes creators make rides specifically for at night, and so it looks good that we didn't miss anything like that. But oh, this looks cool
Hmm.
with that kind of really kind of yellowish light.
So if you're going to ask me final thoughts, I would say I am super impressed with this park. I love the fact that he's done some differing styles as well. The Chinese theme is not a massive go-to one. I've seen a couple of people do it, but not many. It's a bit more of a rare theme. The German kind of like Main Street, I think, is amazing. The Aztec is, whilst I've seen it done quite a bit before, he's done it very, very well here. And then the
Mm-hmm.
Steampunk is the first time I've seen it done on console, and I would love to see more people do it. I really want to see more creators going down that steampunk route. I love this park. I think it's fantastic, fantastic job to the creator. I'm really sorry. I can't remember who you said the creator was. I'm sorry. Now, but yeah, amazing job. I really liked it.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with everything you said. I think one thing too that's good about this is I know Maddie, you said this before in some of your videos about the PS5 compared to the PS4 in terms of its capabilities, and this is a great part to show just the vast difference in how much more you can get into your park. And I remember you said one time it's not even about getting more coasters, it's about all of the little things around it, all of the theming, all of the extra detail. And so they've only got 5 coasters, right? And a lot of people on PS4, I mean, I've made a park with like 6 or 7 coasters, right? But it's the amount of detail that they put in. So, like, if you think about all these buildings over here and then all the pieces in this area, so this really kind of showcases what a PS5 can truly do.
Yeah. Eden Gardens, do you know how many
Hmm.
rides that had in it?
How many rides? I know you had 4 coasters, right?
4 coasters, 5 flat rides, and then
Oh,
two
that's all.
bus tour and a
Hmm.
monorail, and that's it. And that was 100%.
Yeah.
So
So,
it only had 13 rides in total,
so you had
all
a
in all.
ton of theming and
It
ton
was
of
all theming, like literally everything was theming. And can
yeah.
I do something to you? What I've started doing in my own videos now when I am having guests on?
Absolutely.
3-word park review.
Okay, hold on. I gotta think of this for a second. I knew that's where you were going when you said, "Can I ask you something?" So, 3-word park review. Um, okay, brilliantly designed park. How about that?
Oh, that was nice. You did that a lot quicker than Tommy CM did.
Okay, so what you're
It took
saying
him
is
quite a while.
I'm better than Tommy then is what you're saying. That sounds like
I'm
what
not
you're
saying
telling me.
nothing. No, I'm not saying anything. I'm not picking my favourite out of my children.
Hey Tommy,
No,
you
I'm
heard
not
Maddie
doing
say
it.
it first here.
No, no,
So
I did not, Tommy.
no, yeah. Well, what about you? Do you have 3 words for this, or is that not how it works? So
I'll do one more steampunk, please. And that is to everybody out there. I want
yeah.
to see more steampunk, please. It's such a unique theme on console. I've seen it on PC. I want to see console players doing it. Look at this park. Look what this guy's done. Do it, other people, please. I want to see more of this. I want to see a full steampunk park.
Yeah, and kind of like Maddie was saying earlier, hopefully we can get in touch with this person. I haven't tried to message them yet over PlayStation Network, so I don't know if it's a possibility or not. But if you watch this video and you just so happen to know who the creator is, please pass this along so that they can really see just how much we've enjoyed the park that this creator has made.
Just quickly before we end, you said that you would explain what Plipcam is as well. Just for
Oh
anyone
yeah,
that may not know, because it's such a hidden feature in the game, a lot of people don't even know this exists.
yeah, so if you click on a guest and you rename them, now you do have to do it capitalized. I know some people said you don't, but if you don't do it capitalized, it just doesn't show up properly. So you type in Plipcam, all capital letters, and what it does is it takes you into guest view. So now you can walk around the park like a guest. Like you can't elevate or do anything. So you really get to see it from a guest point of view. And I think this is, if you're creating a park and you're wanting to see how stuff looks, I think this is great to do because you can see kind of, oh, well, this is what this actually looks like from a guest standpoint. But one thing that I like that's cool too, and let me get to a ride, is so you can't like go over somewhere that guests can't. Like we can't go, well, I guess we can go there, but it kind of hops over. Um, and so you see, you can kind of walk in certain areas, which I think is pretty cool. Um, but you like there are certain areas where you can't walk, if that makes sense. Um, yeah. So but the problem is when you click exit out of it, it takes you back to where you started, which makes zero sense to me. It's like why that makes I don't know why they would code it like that in the game is beyond me. But yeah. And you said you haven't used Clipcam much.
I've not used it at all.
Okay. Yeah, so it's just a cool way to kind of see what your park would look like from guest view, just to kind of make sure that you're happy with how you've done it. So, um, and if you don't have anything else, Maddie, I think we're wrapping this up in under an hour. So pretty
Brilliant.
impressive with that for how big this park is.
Yeah, I just
Um,
want to say thank you ever so much for having me on your channel. It's been an absolute blast. I've really enjoyed it. I'm glad that we've finally been able to do a spotlight together. It's something I've been wanting to do for a couple of months now. So I'm glad we
absolutely,
can finally now able to do it. And now you've got this PS5, which I'm really pleased about. We can do this more often and share these creations together. So
absolutely.
congrats on getting a PS5, mate.
Thank you. Yeah,
buying
I
one
mean,
for Jasmine.
I know. Is your wife was telling us or telling me that just buy one for Jasmine. She wants it. Buy one for Jasmine. So I guess we
Yeah.
ultimately did. Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you doing the spotlight with me as well because you were. I mean, there's a 6 hour difference, so it's getting late there your time, and you're just like, hey, I can shoot one now if you want. So I really appreciate it. And so that's it for this park. As always, make sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And thank you so much, Maddie.
No problem at all. Bye, everybody.